Hey, how's it going? So this is the 1999 M3 that I'm selling, and I'm just gonna point out some flaws with it, most notably the rust. So it has the new brake discs and pads, also rebuilt calipers on all four corners. It has brand new moldings. So you can see that this trim is kind of worn. I was gonna replace it, but just left it be. As you can see, there's some paint shrinkage right here, right above the door, and there is just a tiny bit of surface rust right here. So this seal is deteriorated, but it's not really leaking water inside. I know because I took this car through a car wash and it didn't leak. So if you look at the quarter panel, this side is absolutely fine. There's a scratch there, but no rust or anything of that nature. Now this door has something weird going on. I asked one of my buddies who does auto body. He said that this is looks like a paint patch. It doesn't look like it was rusted through or anything like that. If we pop the door open, you're gonna see some rust showing through here. Similar deal going on with this paint patch here. Just a speck of rust here, here, right here, and here. Now this is probably the worst spot right here. You can see the bubbles. That looks like another paint patch here. So you have the same thing going on about the door. And really, aside from the rust, this is a pretty clean car, both mechanically and you have to look at everything else. I had to replace this cowling because when I bought the car it was cracking, just to make sure there's no water entering here. I didn't see any rust underneath when I took it off. Interior looks pretty good for this car. As you can see, the door pockets, I mean, they're not totally detached, and this panel is not really warped. Usually they do get warped. Got a little bit of rust here on the sill as well. Really not a whole lot of blemishes in the interior. I will point out this seam here. It's an easy fix, and I actually had a shop that was gonna fix it for me before I decided to sell the car. Then, as you can see, we have some sagging in the headliner right here. And a quote to get this fixed was around $100 from the same shop if I take the headliner off. Everything here is original. This car doesn't have any muds. You got a slight glove box sag, but this panel here isn't warped like in most of these cars. Let's take a look under the hood. Now this car has an ASC light on, and it's actually started happening after I redid the cooling system. So I think what happened was I messed with something here, right here, and this cable is slightly loose. I haven't had a chance to pull the code to see what the problem actually is. It didn't bother me because the AC on this car actually sucks. The brake fluid was just flushed. And again, the cooling system was replaced. Has a new radiator, water pump, new thermostat housing, all the belts, hoses, expansion tank. Start it up. Like I said, the ASC light is on. No other lights. And as you can see, I didn't put a whole lot of miles on it because I really haven't driven it as much as I expected. I bought this car with 127,000 miles, it now has 128,000. Everything works. The FSU was actually replaced before I bought the car, and the gears on the driver's side seat were replaced as well, because the reclining function wasn't really working. One thing that doesn't work is the driver's side window, and actually it might work, but one day I was getting into this car during the winter, and when it was inching up and down, it just made some crunching sounds, so I decided not to lower or raise the window after that. As you can see, it still functions when you open and close the door, but I wouldn't try to lower it or raise it up any further. But that is basically it. Let me know if you have any other questions.